Walmart Plus members save on meeting up with friends. Save on having them over for dinner with free delivery with no hidden fees or markups. That's groceries, plus napkins, plus that vegetable chopper to make things a bit easier. Plus, members save on gas to go meet them in their neck of the woods. Plus, when you're ready for the ultimate sign of friendship, start a show together with your included Paramount Plus subscription. Walmart Plus members save on this plus so much more. Start a 30-day free trial at walmartplus.com. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. See Walmart Plus terms and conditions.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Last year, they went and took it.
He struck him out looking.
This year,
the Texas Rangers win the World Series.
They're here to run it back.
It's over.
This is Believe in Texas Rangers, hosted by Mitch Ferreldis.
Don't think you could have asked for a more encouraging weekend out of the Texas Rangers. Welcome into today's episode of Believe in Texas Rangers. Be sure if you like what you're listening to, you turn on that bell so that you're always notified when new episodes drop. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can find every visual episode on YouTube. Just look for Believe in Texas Rangers or look for my name, Mitch Ferreldis, and you'll find every episode there as well. But when we went into this particular episode, so ending the last episode, we emphasized that the Rangers could get back to 500, but best case scenario, if they finished this weekend a game under 500, that would have meant that they took 2 out of 3 games. And they did exactly that. They took 2 out of 3 games against the Miami Marlins, who is a team that, as we mentioned, they have already sold off their best player at the beginning of May. So they're calling it a season now. So pummel them into the ground. And you figured after Friday's game that, oh God, this could be a rough weekend again, where high expectations coming in should be simple enough for the Rangers to manage, and instead they absolutely get blown out in the first game, 8-2. And you're thinking, well, spit. This is going to be a rough weekend, isn't it? And as a matter of fact, it turned into exactly the opposite, thanks to 13-0 in the combined Saturday and Sunday games, which is about as perfect a way as you can end a weekend in Miami, is to shut out the team that scored 8 on you in the first game. That pair of shutouts, by the way, from Michael Lorenzen starting and Andrew Heaney starting, but shout out to the bullpen as well, because you can't get a shutout unless every pitcher is on board. As far as the back-to-back shutouts is concerned, it's the first time the Rangers have done that since September of 2016. And the 2 pitchers that were pitching in that back-to-back were Yu Darvish and Cole Hamels. So slight difference this time around that it's Michael Lorenzen and Andrew Heaney. Not to disparage the 2 of them by any means, because they pitched excellent in their 2 outings. But Yu Darvish and Cole Hamels, that was 1-2 back in the day, right? That was the best of the best when it came to the Rangers rotation in that year, in that era. The year before they decided to ship Yu off to the Dodgers, et cetera, et cetera. Very encouraging weekend. The fact that it ended on 2 shutouts, the fact that that was how they responded after getting beat by 6 runs in the day before, was to not only show up in great form offensively. There were a lot of great things that happened offensively. The pitching was excellent as well. And we're going to start with Andrew Heaney, because he's the one that capped off this weekend, and he's the one that by far had the better of the 2 starts. Not that Michael Lorenzen didn't have a great start, because he did, but this was about as perfect a game as you could have asked for from Andrew Heaney. 6 innings, 4 hits, 7 strikeouts on 94 pitches, and he forced 17 swing and miss strikes. He was dominant. And I tell you what, there was the 6th inning, his last inning of work, where he just threw the back foot slider 3 consecutive times for strikeouts against the 3 batters that he faced. He had everything working for him in every possible way, because he was able to be efficient, which is something that has been a major issue for Andrew, right? Like thinking back to some of his earlier starts and how he would have to labor just to get through 3 innings. And by that point, he'd already been up to 70 pitches because he'd be allowing a lot of walks and his location wasn't working. This was about as perfect a start that Andrew Heaney could have given because he kept the strikeout numbers up. He walked nobody. He was able to get the swing and miss stuff, which is encouraging if you're a strikeout pitcher. And he was able to keep the pitch count low enough that he was able to go deep into a game that didn't necessitate some of your best relievers. I mean, I know David Robertson pitched and Jose Leclerc pitched, but the way the game ended, it was a large enough lead that Kirby Yates was not needed for that outing, right? Like there was no pressure on Kirby yesterday. And for Heaney to be able to solidify his spot in the rotation and solidify this week, really, he had 2 really good outings this week, coming in relief for Nathan Eovaldi against the Diamondbacks, and then this Sunday start yesterday. He's been everything and more that you could have hoped that Andrew could have provided given the state of this Rangers rotation. And the state of the Rangers rotation is something we've talked about all year long because it has been injury after injury after injury. And we're going to have an update on a few guys in particular little bit. But Andrew Heaney has been one of the consistent ones in this rotation because he hasn't missed a ton of time. He has been kind of that dual threat guy where, they could use him out of the bullpen in a short load and he'll be great. Or they could use him as a starter and you never know what you're going to get. It's going to be kind of a coin flip because it's, as we've learned, Andrew Heaney has not been that dominant pitcher that we saw a few years ago when he was with the Angels. He's far removed from that. But when you get starts like this, it's very encouraging and it's a very positive sign for the rest of the team because it keeps the rest of them enthused and encouraged moving forward, especially when the schedule is going to start to get tougher or you're going to face a lot of similar competition. Like the Tigers are coming up. The Giants are going to be coming in at the end of the week. Like there's a lot of teams coming up on the schedule that are kind of in that similar record range that the Rangers are right now. If you could get positive starts out of your 4 and your 5 guys in your rotation, then you're going to be in a good spot moving forward. Michael Lorenzen, we could talk about his start too. The line just wasn't as pretty as Heaney's, but he still threw a shutout against a guy that was throwing pretty quality stuff for the most part. Like his opponent, Ryan Weathers, struck out the Rangers 11 times. That's ridiculous. But Lorenzen got through 6 1/3 at 5 hits, struck out 7, walked 2, was able to force 15 swing and misses, which is up there in the category of Heaney. And he was able to keep his pitch count relatively low getting into as late of the game as he did. 98 pitches through 6 1/3 innings. And more importantly, was able to shut out the Marlins, who, look, with all due respect to the fact that they're clearly given up on the season, they had played very well the last couple of weeks, last stretch of baseball or so. Started to slow down now after a visit to San Diego and then getting back home and losing 2 out of 3 to the Rangers. But, as we've emphasized before, you have to beat the teams that you're better than. And the Rangers are very much better than the Miami Marlins. And so to go out there to take 2 out of 3, it's exactly what you would have hoped for. And it's exactly what they did. But it wasn't just pitching that helped them. It was also the offense and Corey Seager and the fact that he's now on a 15-game hitting streak and has been on base in 25 consecutive games. Sadly, no, he did not homer in any of the games against Miami. But that doesn't mean we're not still very thrilled with the progress that Corey Seager has been making, thinking all the way back to how this year started to now. He's now hitting 268. He's got a 358 on-base percentage and a 478 slugging percentage after the weekend. It was punctuated by a 3-for-4 game against Miami on Saturday, where he collected a double. He was able to walk, scored a run. He didn't drive anybody in this weekend, which was interesting given the way he pummeled Arizona and pummeled the Twins and got home runs against the Angels. But he was still able to make bat-to-ball contact and get on base and look like Corey Seager, which was something that we had been hoping for a long time. So his stock is continuing to climb at a steady rate. And I don't think there's any sign of it slowing right now, the way that he's playing. Like going into the month of June, just 2 days in, there's a chance that he stays at this level of consistency for a while. It'll just be curious to see how long it lasts and what happens when other guys start to step up to the plate as well and start to contribute, because then it'll only complement how well Corey Seager has played the last month plus. And that can only mean more wins for Texas, especially, as we've said, against teams that are within the relative same range of you as far as the record is concerned. Other stock that's continuing to climb. He had down stock for a while at the beginning of May, but now he's starting to climb upward again, and that's Josh Smith. This weekend alone, Josh Smith was 5-13 against Miami. One of those hits was a double. Another one of those hits was a home run, and he scored 3 times. Josh Smith is also working on a modest 6-game hitting streak right now, where he has collected a total of 9 hits in the 6-game hitting streak. So positive signs from Josh, as his average has now climbed back to 287, his on base at 377, and his slugging percentage 425. He drove in the first Rangers run in the game on Friday with his home run, but no one else was able to contribute much after that. And this is encouraging because at one point his average dropped all the way to 271, and now he's got it back in the 280s. And Josh has continually been a guy that we've pointed to ever since Josh Young went down with injury as someone who needs to be consistent offense in the lineup. I mean, he was hitting as high as 3rd in the order some of these games. He's moved back down in the order now because Boch is messing around with the order, right? He likes to put Robbie Grossman high up there against lefties, so Josh was seeing a lot of time in the lower part of the order, but that's okay because he was still contributing. Clearly, this was something that benefited Josh. But they're going to need him as much as possible because there's no clear sign that Josh Young is going to be returning anytime soon. And as long as Josh Smith keeps producing at this level, then the Rangers are going to be in good shape as far as third base is concerned. And it's less reliant on Ezekiel Duran, who can now just kind of platoon with Nathaniel Lowe at first base. I know Nathaniel got a couple of games here and there off because of the lefties. But if you can keep Josh Smith in the lineup, even against left-handed pitching, and he can still produce at the level that he's producing, then the Rangers are going to be in good shape offensively. While they wait for Josh Young to return.
This episode brought to you by Progressive. Whether you're driving, cooking, or doing laundry, Progressive knows the podcasts you listen to go best when they're bundled with another activity. Much like how their Progressive home and auto policies go best when they're bundled. Having these 2 policies together makes taking care of your insurance easier and could help you save, too. Customers who save by switching their home and car insurance to Progressive save over $775 on average. That's a whole lot of savings and protection for your favorite podcast listening activities, like going on a road trip, cooking dinner, and even hitting the home gym. Yep, your home and your car are even easier to protect when you bundle your insurance together. Find your perfect combo. Get a home and car insurance quote at Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $779 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2022 and May 2023. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Walmart Plus members save on meeting up with friends. Save on having them over for dinner with free delivery with no hidden fees or markups. That's groceries plus napkins plus that vegetable chopper to make things a bit easier. Plus, members save on gas to go meet them in their neck of the woods. Plus, when you're ready for the ultimate sign of friendship, start a show together with your included Paramount Plus subscription. Walmart Plus members save on this plus so much more. Start a 30-day free trial at walmartplus.com. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. See Walmart Plus terms and conditions.
One other guy we got to check in as far as the offense is concerned, and he had a really good game against the Marlins on Saturday, but it is time for
Wyatt Watch.
So looking at how Wyatt has done just since he returned from the injured list, he has 4 hits. They're all singles. He's scored twice. He's driven in 4. He's struck out 5 times, and that's over the course of 19 at-bats. The breakout game for him was against Miami, where in a similar vein to how he played against Arizona in the Wednesday game. Wyatt against Miami on Saturday was 2 for 5 with a run scored and drove in 2. And unfortunately, the other 3 at-bats he struck out. That was about as encouraging as a sign that Wyatt feels more comfortable at the plate, even though he's just coming off an injury, that I've seen since before he got injured. Because I think the first month it was really like the first couple of weeks that we were really high on Wyatt, and rightfully so. And he was contributing in key places, and he was hitting as high as 5th in the order, as high as 3rd in the order in some cases. And then the numbers started to dip a little bit, right? The stock started to go down a tad. He's still finding ways to contribute, even with the numbers being as low as they are. And I know it's only been 5 games back from the injured list, but I mean, if he could put together 2 separate 2-hit games, he looks healthy enough to continue to compete for them. And they're probably going to need him a few times in the outfield as opposed to just as their designated hitter with Evan Carter on the shelf. And it goes back to what we've said about Josh, but the difference is that Wyatt is an expected starter. He's like the expected replacement for Mitch Garver, who left in the offseason. If Wyatt can contribute in ways like this, but also find ways to contribute on defense, then, like I said, the Rangers are going to be in good shape. I do still wonder in the back of my mind if finding a way to make him more comfortable at the plate is an option. Is that something you could do at the major league level? Is that something you could do with just coaching? I'm not sure. But I do know that he's a valuable part of this organization's future and the now. Not just the now, but also the future, as I should have said. And as long as the weight is off him, as far as the idea of like, oh, you're the best hitter in the order and we need you to contribute right now. As long as that weight is off his shoulders, I think it'll actually be a positive. Because then he's less stressed about, oh gosh, I have to contribute right now. There's a lot of expectation on me. Because think about what the lineup should have been going into this year. You have Marcus Semien, he's really darn good. Corey Seager, as we know. Adolis Garcia is a key contributor. If Josh Young was healthy, that's another key contributor in the order. And then you've got day in, day out, Nathaniel Lowe, Jonah Heim, guys that can contribute. I mean, that's already 6 guys in the order. If those 6 guys can be constant contributors, you don't have to worry about Wyatt's production. Or is that 5? That's 5 guys in the order. Sorry, my short math is rough. But like, to my point, if Wyatt Langford is the 6th guy in the order to help contribute, or even the 7th guy when Evan Carter is healthy, if Wyatt Langford's just the 7th best guy in the team's order, they're already in good shape. They're good enough to make a run again. And hopefully a run that gets them back into playoff contention, because right now the record's not saying as much. Some of the performances have not been saying as much. But this has been a very encouraging turnaround for the Rangers, who, with the win against the Twins, the 2 wins against the Diamondbacks, and the 2 wins against the Marlins, that's 5 wins in their last 6 games, which sets them up nicely for a weekend where they get to return home against a couple of teams, I should say, with similar records to them. All right, let's get a pitching injuries update, and then we'll start to look ahead to this weekend against the Tigers. So Evan Grant reported yesterday that Tyler Mahle, as well as Kumar Rocker, who is still recovering from injury for the AAA squad, they're expected to face live hitters sometime this week. And then Evan Grant added to his report, Evan Grant with the Dallas Morning News, excuse me. Max Scherzer and John Gray going to join that live hitters party. Particularly Scherzer and Gray are going to face live hitters today, Monday, as you're listening to this, before their game against the Tigers. Scherzer had said on the progress, quote, "My check engine light has finally gone off," close quote. Well, that's encouraging to hear, given that he was on his way back from an injury and then got injured again. Sounds like Max is close. Does Max need another rehab outing where he goes to AAA or goes to AA, depending on where the Rangers are on their calendar? Or can he just do the Nate Eovaldi where he's activated, he's put directly into the rotation, but he's on a pitch count and he's on an innings limit, and we don't get to see full complement Max Scherzer, but we do get to see how much he's progressed, and we get to see him eat a few innings for saving the bullpen per se. But very encouraging sign that Max is close, that John is close. Like, you're going to see pieces come back into the rotation, and for the first time, you'll get to see Tyler Mahle as well, who, he hasn't pitched in a long time, a long, long time. Gets traded from the Reds to the Twins, gets hurt and doesn't pitch, and then barely pitched in the next season. And now here he is once again recovering from injury and hoping to make it stick this time with the Rangers. I mean, this guy was a near all-star not too long ago. So maybe somebody, if the Rangers can get right, can be a key piece to their rotation as they try to make another World Series run. And so here come the Tigers. The Detroit Tigers are also 29-30, as are the Rangers. Detroit has had a lot of early season success, but now they've kind of started to peter out a bit. And I think the most significant news as far as the Tigers are concerned is a move that they are, I believe it's not official yet, but they are expected to make, given the struggles of one of their key pieces and the former number 1 overall pick, Spencer Torkelson. It is just reports right now, but Torkelson is set to get sent down to AAA Toledo, given his struggles. And this is a guy who was a number 1 overall pick back in 2020 out of Arizona State. This is a guy that they were going to rely on heavily to replace Miguel Cabrera at first base, but the offensive production is not there. He's not the greatest defensive first baseman, but defensive first base is here, not there. So this is a series where if you're the Rangers, you start to wonder, all right, well, who are the key contributors left for the Tigers? They still are paying Javi Baez a lot of money for him to do not a whole lot. Riley Green and Kerry Carpenter are part of that young core, for the Tigers that have really contributed to them for most of the season. As I'm just checking now to make sure that Kerry is actually on the big league roster. No, he actually just got placed on the 10-day injured list, so they won't have him. But they have young pitching. Casey Mize leading that crew. But then they've also gotten a lot of veteran, or not Casey Mize, Tarek Skubal leading that crew. Like, Tarek Skubal's pitching like a Cy Young candidate right now. He's 7-1 with a 2.01 ERA. But they're also getting a very healthy veteran season out of Jack Flaherty, who they signed to this offseason. Reese Olson has been an awesome third best starter for that rotation. So like that trio of pitchers has really been awesome for Detroit this year. And good news for the Rangers, they're going to get 2 out of those 3. The other one being Kenta Maeda, who was signed in the offseason to a free agent deal. But this is the Tigers team that really gave the Rangers a lot of issues the last time these two faced back in Detroit. The Rangers did take 3 out of 4, so in the end it ended in their favor, but it didn't come without its struggle. And it was one of those that it was the series that really highlighted how good Kirby Yates was as an offseason signing and just how valuable him and David Robertson have been to this team. That was the last time they played the Tigers. This go around, maybe it'll be different, but I would expect a bunch of pitchers duels this weekend, just based off of the statistics alone. Starting with today, Monday, June 3rd, Tarek Skubal, who, as we said, 7-1 with a 2.01 ERA. He'll go against Nate Eovaldi, who's making his second start post-injury. I wonder if he'll be limited in any sort of sense, like he was against the Diamondbacks. He has a 2-2 record so far this year with a 2.84 ERA. Tuesday is going to be against Jack Flaherty, who, as I mentioned, is having a strong bounce-back season. He's actually one of the leading candidates for strikeouts in the American League right now, believe it or not. He has a 2-4 record, but he has an ERA of 3.46. So not to be fooled by the record, he's actually pitching rather well. Texas has not determined who that starter is going to be. The last person to start after Nathan Eovaldi was Dane Dunning, so perhaps we see Dane again. And then Wednesday, June 5th, the last game of this series is going to be Kenta Maeda for Detroit. And he's coming in with a 2-2 record and a 6.25 ERA. So not best for the veteran right-hander. This one is also TBD for Texas. It was Jose Urena who got the start on Friday. So maybe they turned to Jose again on short rest. I'm not totally sure. But they could also end up just activating someone off of IL based off of how facing live hitters goes today. Not going to jump to conclusions there. Maybe they call someone up. I don't know. It's TBD for a reason. But the one guarantee is that Nathan Eovaldi is going to pitch tonight against Tarek Skubal. We'll be back on the Thursday off day after this Tiger series is done and get you ready for the upcoming series against the Giants. Hopefully get to talk to one of my guys that I know in the Bay Area who'd be excellent to talk about the Giants with. So until next time, believe in Texas Rangers.